Good morning, everyone. You don't usually see me like this, but I thought I'd join kind of the other 100 people or so that are out here enjoying the sunshine in Boot Park. And it gets like this like if there's ever a nice day, particularly around this time of the day, like lunchtime, a lot of the university students come over here and they just like, this is basically their break really. They come and sit under a tree or they come and lie like in this open space, and it's very, very relaxing. I don't know if you can hear in the background, but just over there is like I think it's like the music section of the university, and there's like an opera house there. Forgive me, I don't really know the name of it, but yeah, I can basically hear like so yesterday was the Lincoln Grand Prix, which goes up a famous Michael Gate climb, like 13 times, I think 12, 13 times. Steep climb, doesn't take long to get up it, to be honest. Takes like, I don't know, 45 seconds to a minute, depends how hard it's ridden. And when you get over the top, it's generally very hard over the top, especially if it splits. But it's cobbled. That's the main thing. It's cobbled. Yesterday, I'll just run you through what happened because obviously I didn't video anything directly. So, had breakfast. Had around 220 grams of carbs. I think it was very low fat, lowish protein. And then I didn't eat anything then. That was like 3.5 hours before. Then I didn't eat anything until 1 hour before the race, where I had about 65 grams of carbs, in the form of like waffle, a folded waffle with Nutella in the middle. That was actually race food, well, some race food as well. I had a caffeine gel that had 150 milligrams of caffeine in, but also had 20 odd grams of carbs, and I had a banana. So it was around about 65 grams of carbs an hour before, which is generally what they say for kind of, you know, loading up before an endurance exercise or race. During the race, I had like 2 of those Cliff blocks, 2 of those bars or whatever you call them, like the whole packet, 2 packets, coupled with a couple of gels and one of those waffle things. But I also drank a couple of bottles of Secret Training energy, so you get a fair bit of carbs in that. But yeah, I was very hungry afterwards, and I had a protein shake and everything, a recovery shake. I was very hungry afterwards, and in the end, when I got home, Charlie had made like a curry that was just packed to the eyeballs with chicken. So I enjoyed that, and a naan bread. You got to have naan bread with your curry. So anyway, the race itself was like all over the shop. For a start, there was a crash 500 meters into the race, and I was caught up behind it. I fell off on my left side, but and took like a tiny bit of the scarring from that crash last year off my left knee. There's hardly anything, like in fact I wouldn't even have said I would have crashed. You can't tell, but I came off in that, and I think it was silly. I mean, this is just my video of the race, my opinion of the race, like my perspective. It's not like, you know, I might be right, I might be wrong, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just like a diary of the race. So ideally, what the commissaire should have done is, if it was 500 meters into the race, they should have just, you know, stopped the race. Basically, it wouldn't have hurt them to stop the race 500 meters down the road, and you know, wait for us to get spare wheels, whatever, because I had to change back wheel, put the chain back on, and things like that. So by the time, you know, that happened, it was like a big chase to get back on. Thankfully, because a fair few were caught up behind it, because it happened quite near the front, the convoy was kind of very willing. Every car in the convoy was very willing to give, you know, riders toes. I managed to get behind my own team car, and I was behind it for like half an hour or something, or just under half an hour. It was like 20 minutes maybe, But then of course, just as I was getting close to the bunch, we were going up the climb, because of course you don't have much recovery, if any really. If you go up that climb and then you're chasing over the top and then you get back on, there's a really fast descent and then it goes really hard through the lanes again. So you've only got maybe 5-10 minutes of recovery each lap. So this race is more of a wear and down race than anything else. So anyway, managed to get back on, which was a good laugh really. It shouldn't have taken me that long to get back on, but there we are. Things happen in bike races. Go back on, and loads of riders out the back, and they managed to get on as well. And then the race just kept like splitting and come back together, and splitting, come back together. And then the further we got into the race, the more laps we did, the more groups that were forming in this split. So initially there was only 2 groups that were splitting. Then say 2 laps later, it was 3 groups. And then obviously you get kind of towards the end of the race, the last 4 or 5 laps, and it was splitting into 5 or 6 groups. Thankfully I was finding myself in kind of like the second group or the third group every time. I was never in the first group, because I just found that climb like really tough, just purely because of the cobbles and traction and just simple physics really. So I got over the climb, and then I was just trying to, because we were riding for Jake Scott, and we were riding for Isaac Mundy, both of which had been in the front splits most of the time. So when it came back together, with like 3 laps to go, we realised that there was a big-ish group just up the road, maybe like 20 riders, and none of us were in it. But I think a few other teams have missed it as well, so it wasn't onus on us to chase. But I put my hand up and I just went, right, I'm going to the front, and I brought another guy with me, and me and him just did turns, basically to pull that bunch back. We pulled it back within, I don't know, what, 10 minutes, maybe less, so we didn't actually spend a lot of energy. Because we expended energy, we were kind of going to pay for it a little bit on that Michael Gear climb, but this was 2 laps to go, so it's a decisive part of the race. So if you're going to commit to anything, you make sure you commit to it, and then let it be done. We struggled up the climb then and found ourselves in like the 3rd or 4th split that time, so we didn't really get back into the race. But the problem was we committed too many, and it was partly my fault for calling it, but or making it look like we were doing too much. But we ended up putting, like, there was me and another guy, me and my teammate were pulling, so the 2 of us, we pulled our group back, and then 2 other teammates joined in, and I was like, okay, we'll calm down now because we've caught it, blah blah blah. And then we like sat up a little bit, and because these other 2 teammates came in through no fault of their own, they found themselves in the front and they were doing work, and we were like, we don't really need to commit now, we don't really need to commit. And then before we knew we were on the climb, I went back, my own teammate went back, the one who was doing pulls me, and we all ended up going back apart from Isaac and Jake. Now the problem was that Isaac and Jake, although they're protected riders, they were now in the front group of like say 40 with no teammates. And I was like, well, we shouldn't have committed like 4 guys, we should have committed just 2 guys to the chase, which we did initially. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. We kept saying that in the team debrief later, which debriefs are like massive. If you're part of a cycling team, encourage them to do debriefs and encourage them to be open and honest, because you learn a lot, and so long as you do it in an open and honest way, and you can give crap, if you pardon the phrase, but it's taken in a professional light. It's not anything personal. I think that's the problem. But then you've got to know the riders, you've got to know them as mates at the end of the day. You can't just say any old thing. So we live and learn. We did come away with 8th and 9th, I think, with Jake and Isaac, so 2 top 10s, not too bad. So we go to the next one now, which is the Tour Series again in Durham on Saturday. So I've just been for an easy spin today. I'm going to try and do a biggish block at the start of this week and then see where we go from there, because I've done 2 hours today, fairly easy, or easy-ish, like zone 1, zone 2, blah blah blah. And then tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm probably going to be doing a block. I'm probably going to ride home from Cardiff tomorrow actually, and then yeah, we will rest up then for the weekend. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this insight. I know it's not the usual kind of, you know, we're at the race, here's the video type of thing, but I don't know, it's kind of nice just sitting here and recording the video. Maybe I should do it more. As long as we have the sun, that'll be better.